America is changing fast. While big cities like New York and Los Angeles get bigger, many small towns are getting smaller. Some towns are dying. People are leaving. Businesses are closing. Schools are shutting down. Right now, about half of America's towns are losing people. By the year 2100, experts think thousands of towns could become ghost towns. That means empty buildings, empty streets, and no people left. But this isn't just about the future. It's happening right now. Some towns might not make it to 2028. That's only 3 years away. Why are towns dying? There are many reasons. Young people leave to find jobs in big cities. Old people die and aren't replaced by new families. Factories close. Hospitals shut down. When one important business leaves, others follow. The weather is also changing. Some places get too hot or too dry. Others flood too much. This makes it hard for people to live there. But not all news is bad. Some towns are growing fast. They found ways to bring in new people and new businesses. These are the success stories we can learn from. Let us look at 7 towns that might not survive to 2028. We'll also meet 2 towns that are doing great. Let's see what makes the difference between a town that dies and one that thrives. Sheffield, Pennsylvania. Too many graves. Not enough people. Sheffield sits in the woods of northwestern Pennsylvania. It's about 75 miles from Erie, the nearest big city. This small town has a big problem. More people are dying than being born. Lee Goldthwait knows this better than anyone. He takes care of Sheffield Cemetery. His job used to be easy. Now he's busier than ever. He spends his days clearing trees to make room for more graves. We already lost our bank, Goldthwait says as he trims grass around headstones. Each time he buries someone, he wonders how the town will survive. Sheffield used to be important. In the early 1900s, it had the largest sawmill east of the Mississippi River. Families came here for good jobs. The town was busy and full of life. But those days are gone. The sawmill closed long ago. Now Sheffield is like many rural Pennsylvania towns. Deaths happen more than births. Young people move away after high school. They go to cities for college and jobs. Most never come back. The numbers tell a scary story. Sheffield is in Warren County. Experts think this county will lose more than 10% of its people by 2050. That's a lot of empty houses and closed businesses. It's not just Sheffield. Across rural Pennsylvania, 81% of counties had more deaths than births between 2019 and 2023. This is happening all over rural America. What went wrong? Several things happened at once. The baby boom generation is getting old and dying. Younger families are having fewer kids. Good jobs are hard to find in small towns. Most new jobs are in big cities. Healthcare is another problem. Sheffield used to have doctors and a small hospital. Now people have to drive far to see a doctor. If someone gets really sick, an ambulance takes a long time to come. The town government is struggling too. It's hard to find people to run for mayor or town council. With fewer people paying taxes, there's less money to fix roads or keep the library open. But time is running out. If Sheffield can't find new ways to bring in people and money, it might become a ghost town. The cemetery might outlast the town itself. The state of Pennsylvania knows this is a crisis. They're trying to help small towns survive. But for places like Sheffield, it might be too late. By 2028, this town might have more ghosts than living people. Jackson, Mississippi. When cities lose their people, Jackson is not a small town. It's the capital city of Mississippi. It has over 146,000 people. But Jackson is shrinking fast. It lost 12.7% of its people between 2017 and 2022. That's about 1 out of every 8 residents. This is shocking because Jackson is supposed to be important. It's where the state government works. It has universities and hospitals. It should be growing, not shrinking. So what's going wrong in Jackson? The problems are big and complicated. First, the water system is broken. For years, people in Jackson couldn't trust their tap water. Sometimes the water was brown. Sometimes there was no water at all. In 2022, the whole city almost ran out of clean water. People had to boil water or buy bottles from stores. When you can't trust the water coming from your faucet, you might decide to move somewhere else. That's what many families did. The economy is another problem. Good jobs are hard to find in Jackson. Many young people go to college and then move to other cities like Atlanta or Dallas. These cities have more opportunities and better pay. Crime is also an issue. Jackson has one of the highest murder rates in America. People don't feel safe walking around downtown at night. Businesses close early or move to safer parts of the city. Hurricane Ida hit Jackson hard in 2021. The storm caused flooding and power outages. Some people never came back after the hurricane. The city government has money troubles too. With fewer people paying taxes, there's less money to fix problems. Roads have potholes. Street lights don't work. Parks are not well maintained. Leaders are working to repair the water system with help from the federal government. They're trying to attract new businesses downtown. Some young people are moving back to start restaurants and art galleries. But time is working against Jackson. Every year it loses people. It gets weaker. Other Mississippi cities like Hattiesburg and Oxford are doing better. They're taking jobs and residents away from Jackson. If Jackson can't fix its water, reduce crime, and create more jobs, it could lose another 20,000 people by 2028. For a capital city to shrink that much would be very unusual. The question is whether Jackson can turn things around fast enough. It has the resources to survive, but it needs strong leadership and big changes. If not, Mississippi might need a new capital city by 2040. Jackson shows that even important cities can fail if they don't solve their problems. Being a state capital doesn't protect you from losing people and businesses. Some experts think Jackson will survive because it's too important to fail. The state government won't let the capital city disappear. But surviving and thriving are two different things. Jackson might limp along with fewer people and less money for many years. The next few years will be crucial for Jackson. Can it fix the water? Can it create jobs? Can it make people feel safe? If not, Jackson might become America's first shrinking state capital. Paradise, Nevada. The town that lost Vegas. Paradise sounds like a great place to live. But this town in Nevada is anything but paradise right now. Paradise has lost more people than almost any other place in America. Between 2017 and 2022, it lost 22% of its population. That's more than 1 out of every 5 people. What makes this even stranger is that Paradise sits right next to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is growing. People are moving there for jobs and fun. But Paradise, which is technically separate from Las Vegas, is emptying out. Paradise is home to some famous places. The Las Vegas Strip runs through it. So does the airport where people fly into Las Vegas. The University of Nevada, Las Vegas is there too. With all these attractions, why are people leaving? The biggest problem is that Paradise lost over 50,000 people in just 5 years. The population dropped from about 235,000 to 183,000. That's like losing a whole small city worth of people. Paradise isn't really a city. It's what's called an unincorporated area. This means it doesn't have its own mayor or city government. Instead, it's run by the county. Some people think this makes it harder to solve problems or make improvements. Housing costs are part of the problem. Even though it's near Las Vegas, Paradise doesn't have the same entertainment jobs. Many people who used to live there moved to other parts of Nevada or other states where housing costs less. The schools in Paradise face challenges too. With fewer families and less tax money, it's harder to improve education. Parents often choose to live in other areas with better schools. Crime is also a concern in some parts of Paradise. While it's generally safe near the tourist areas, other neighborhoods have problems with drug use and theft. This drives families to look for safer places to live. Transportation can be difficult too. While Paradise has some bus routes, it's hard to get around without a car. Many newer suburbs have better roads and easier access to shopping and jobs. The future of Paradise depends on whether it can find ways to attract new residents. The area still has advantages. It's close to the Las Vegas airport and downtown. The cost of housing is lower than in some other parts of Las Vegas. But Paradise needs to solve its identity problem. It needs better schools, safer neighborhoods, and more reasons for people to want to live there instead of just visiting. Some experts think Paradise might merge with Las Vegas in the future. This could give it better city services and a stronger government. But local politics make this complicated. By 2028, Paradise could lose even more people if these problems aren't fixed. The next few years will show whether this unusual town can find its way back to being a real paradise. Gomez, Texas, a ghost town in the making. Gomez used to be the pride of Terry County, Texas. It was the first settlement in this part of the state just southwest of Lubbock. People came here with big dreams when the railroad arrived. They built businesses and farms. There was even talk of making Gomez the county seat. But today, Gomez is almost empty. What happened to this once promising town shows how quickly places can disappear in rural America. Gomez was built around the railroad and cotton farming. When the railroad was new, it brought people and goods to small towns all over Texas. Gomez had a cotton gin, where farmers brought their crops. The town had stores, a post office, and families. But times changed. Cars and trucks became more common. People didn't need to live near the railroad anymore. They could drive to bigger towns for shopping and services. The cotton industry also changed. Bigger farms used machines instead of hiring lots of workers. The same thing is happening all over rural Texas. More than 50 million people might live in Texas by 2050, but most will live in big cities along Interstate 35. Rural counties in West Texas are losing people every year. When a small town loses too many people, it enters what experts call a death spiral. Here's how it works. When people leave, businesses close because they don't have enough customers. When businesses close, more people leave because there are no jobs. When more people leave, the tax base shrinks. With less tax money, the town can't maintain roads, schools, or other services. This makes even more people want to leave. Gomez fell into this death spiral years ago. Now it's probably too late to save it. Some small Texas towns are trying to avoid Gomez's fate. They're investing in things that might keep young people around: MITRE internet service, recreational activities, and new businesses. But it's very hard once the decline starts. The loss of small towns like Gomez matters for several reasons. These places were part of America's agricultural backbone. They helped feed the country. They also preserved a way of life that valued community, hard work, and helping neighbors. When small towns die, rural areas lose their centers. Farmers and ranchers have to drive farther for supplies and services. Emergency help takes longer to arrive. Schools close, forcing children to travel long distances or move away. The landscape changes too. Buildings fall down and aren't replaced. Roads aren't maintained. What once was a busy town becomes empty fields with a few crumbling foundations. Some people say this is just the natural evolution of America. As farming becomes more efficient, fewer people are needed in rural areas. They argue it's better for people to move to cities where there are more opportunities. But others worry about losing rural communities. They say small towns provide important values and ways of life that cities can't replace. They also worry about what happens to the land and environment when there's no one around to care for it. For Gomez, it's probably too late. The town is already too small and too far gone to recover. By 2028, it will likely be completely empty. A true ghost town instead of just an almost ghost town. Gomez's story is a warning for other small towns across America. Without young people, jobs, and reasons for people to stay, even historic communities can disappear within a generation. Birmingham, Alabama. The Magic City loses its magic. Birmingham used to be called the Magic City and the Pittsburgh of the South. It was Alabama's biggest city and an important place for making steel and iron. But Birmingham has been losing people for over 60 years. Today it faces serious problems that could make it much smaller by 2028. Birmingham's population peaked in 1960 with about 340,000 people. It was the 36th biggest city in America back then. But by 2025, only about 194,000 people live there. That's a loss of almost half its people. The decline started in the 1960s during the Civil Rights Movement. Birmingham became famous for the wrong reasons: violent attacks against people fighting for equal rights. Both black and white families began leaving the city. Some moved to other states. Others moved to suburbs around Birmingham. Crime became a big problem over the years. In 2024, Birmingham set a record with 151 murders. That's more than any year in the city's history. The crime rate is so high that Forbes magazine named Birmingham the second most dangerous city in America. Many parts of the city have empty buildings and vacant lots. When people move away, houses get abandoned. Drug dealers and criminal gangs move into these empty areas. This makes the neighborhoods less safe and drives away even more good families. The city government has less money to work with each year. With fewer people paying taxes, there's less money to fix roads, maintain parks, or pay police officers. The Birmingham Police Department has trouble hiring new officers because the pay isn't good enough and the job is dangerous. Something interesting is happening though. International immigrants are starting to move to Birmingham. People from other countries see Birmingham as affordable compared to big cities like Atlanta or Charlotte. This immigration helped the Birmingham metro area gain some population in 2024. But the city of Birmingham itself is still losing people. The suburbs around Birmingham are growing, but the city center keeps shrinking. This is called white flight and middle-class flight. When people with money move away from the city center. Birmingham's leaders are trying new ideas. They're working to bring new businesses downtown. They're trying to fix the crime problem with a new crime commission. They're investing in parks and entertainment to make the city more attractive. Birmingham shows how even important cities can decline when they have too many problems at once. Crime, bad schools, economic changes, and government money troubles all work together to drive people away. The question for Birmingham is whether it can fix enough problems fast enough to stop the decline. It has some things going for it. Meet your university, hospitals, and cheap housing. But it also has serious challenges that have been building up for decades. East Los Angeles, California. The unincorporated community in Crisis East Los Angeles sits right next to the city of Los Angeles. But it's not actually part of LA. It's what's called an unincorporated area, which means Los Angeles County runs it instead of having its own city government. This unusual setup is part of why East LA is struggling. Between 2017 and 2022, East Los Angeles lost 10% of its population. About 113,000 people live there now, down from over 125,000 just a few years ago. For a place so close to a growing city like Los Angeles, this decline is surprising. East LA has always been known as the heart of Mexican-American culture in Los Angeles. Families have lived there for generations. It has famous murals, good Mexican restaurants, and a strong sense of community. But these positives aren't enough to keep people from moving away. The biggest problem is housing costs. Even though East LA isn't as expensive as other parts of Los Angeles, rent and house prices have gone up a lot. Many families who used to afford to live there are getting priced out. They're moving to places like the Inland Empire, where housing costs less. Being unincorporated makes some problems worse. East LA doesn't have its own mayor or city council to fight for the community's needs. Instead, it depends on Los Angeles County supervisors who represent many different areas. This means East LA doesn't always get attention when it needs help. The area struggles with old infrastructure. Many streets have potholes. Some buildings are old and need repairs. Without its own city government, it's harder to get these problems fixed quickly. Schools in East LA face challenges too. The area is served by the Los Angeles Unified School District, which is huge and sometimes slow to respond to local needs. Some schools are overcrowded. Parents who can afford it send their kids to private schools or move to areas with better public schools. Despite these problems, East LA has some advantages. It's close to downtown Los Angeles and has good access to freeways. The area has a rich cultural identity that attracts some artists and young people. Housing is still cheaper than in many other parts of LA. Some community groups are working to improve East LA. They're fighting to keep housing affordable and bring in new businesses. They want better schools and safer streets. But without their own city government, change comes slowly. The Latino community in East LA is also changing. Some second and third generation Mexican-American families are moving to suburbs as they become more prosperous. New immigrants from Central America are moving in, but they often have less money and different needs. By 2028, East LA could lose even more people if housing costs keep rising and problems aren't solved. The area might become home mainly to very low-income families and new immigrants, while established families move away. East LA's situation shows how complicated population decline can be. It's not just about jobs disappearing like in rural towns. Sometimes it's about a place losing the middle-class families who made it stable, even when the overall economy is growing nearby. Celina, Texas, the town that did everything right, Not all American towns are dying. Some are growing so fast that they can barely keep up. Celina, Texas is one of these success stories. It shows what happens when a town makes smart decisions about growth and gives people good reasons to move there. Celina is about 40 miles north of Dallas. In 2020, only about 17,000 people lived there. By 2025, the population had grown to over 51,000 people. That's more than triple the size in just 5 years. The U.S. Census Bureau named Celina one of the fastest growing cities in America. What makes Celina special? It's not just luck. The town's leaders made smart choices about how to grow. First, Celina invested in really good schools. The town is served by both Celina Independent School District and Prosper Independent School District. Both are highly rated in Texas. Parents know that their kids will get a good education there. When families are looking for places to live, good schools are often the most important factor. Second, Celina planned its growth carefully. Instead of letting developers build anywhere they wanted, the town created a plan for where new houses, stores, and offices should go. They made sure new neighborhoods had parks, walking trails, and places for families to gather. Third, Celina kept its small-town charm while adding modern conveniences. The town has a historic downtown square with local restaurants and shops. But it also attracted big stores like Costco, Lowe's, and Walmart. People can enjoy both old-fashioned community feel and modern shopping. Housing in Celina is more affordable than in many other parts of the Dallas area. But it's not cheap. New homes typically cost $400,000 to $600,000 or more. This means Celina attracts middle-class and upper-middle-class families, not lower-income residents. The town is building thousands of new houses every year. Major developers are creating whole neighborhoods with names like Legacy Hills, North Sky, and parks at Wilson Creek. These aren't just housing developments. They're designed to be communities with their own parks, pools, and gathering places. Celina is also attracting businesses. A new Methodist hospital is being built there. The town is actively recruiting companies to set up offices and create local jobs. The goal is for people to work in Celina, not just sleep there. Of course, rapid growth brings challenges. The town has to build new schools, roads, and water systems very quickly. Traffic is getting heavier. Some longtime residents worry that Celina is losing its small-town feel as it gets bigger. The environment is also a concern. All those new houses and businesses need water, and Texas sometimes faces droughts. The town has to plan carefully to make sure there's enough water for everyone. But overall, Celina shows what happens when a town does growth right. Good schools, smart planning, modern infrastructure, and the right location can turn a small town into a booming city. By 2028, Celina might have 75,000 or even 100,000 people. The town's leaders think it could eventually grow to 300,000 residents. That would make it as big as many state capital cities. Celina's success offers lessons for other towns that want to grow. Invest in education. Plan carefully. Keep what makes your town special while adding modern conveniences. Be in the right place at the right time. Most importantly, Celina shows that American towns don't have to decline. With smart leadership and good timing, they can grow and thrive even in challenging times. Princeton, Texas, America's fastest growing city. If Celina shows how to grow smart, Princeton, Texas shows how to grow fast. Really fast. Princeton grew by 30.6% in just 1 year, from 2023 to 2024. That makes it the fastest growing city in all of America. Just 5 years ago, fewer than 18,000 people lived in Princeton. Today, over 37,000 people call it home. That's more than double the population in 5 years. If Princeton keeps growing like this, it could have 100,000 people by 2030. Princeton sits about 46 miles northeast of Dallas. It used to be a small farming town where everyone knew each other. When the current mayor moved there over 10 years ago, Princeton had only 2 traffic lights. People had to drive to the next town over just to buy groceries. Today, Princeton has several traffic lights, a Walmart, and new restaurants opening all the time. Housing developments are being built so fast that the city had to pause new construction permits so roads and water systems could catch up. What's driving Princeton's incredible growth? The answer is simple: affordability. The typical house in Princeton costs around $325,000. That might sound expensive, but it's much cheaper than nearby cities. In McKinney, houses cost over $500,000. In Frisco, they cost about $685,000. Young families can buy a nice house in Princeton for hundreds of thousands of dollars less than in other Dallas suburbs. Princeton's mayor bought his house there in 2017 for $240,000. He says affordability is the main reason people keep moving to Princeton. It's still cheaper to commute and live in Princeton than maybe live closer to work, he explains. The location is perfect too. Princeton is far enough from Dallas to feel like a small town but close enough for people to commute to jobs in the big city. Many residents work in McKinney, Frisco, or other Dallas suburbs. They get small town living with big city job opportunities. Princeton also benefits from being in Collin County, which has some of the best schools in Texas. Parents know their children will get a good education. The combination of affordable housing and good schools is irresistible to young families. The growth has been so fast that it's created challenges. Roads that were fine for 18,000 people are crowded with 37,000 people. The city is working hard to build new roads and expand existing ones. They're also building more parks and recreational facilities. Princeton had to implement a temporary moratorium on new home construction. This means they stopped approving new houses for a few months so infrastructure could catch up. Even with this pause, the city kept growing as people moved into houses that were already being built. City leaders are trying to manage the growth carefully. They want Princeton to keep its small town feel even as it gets bigger. Right now, Princeton is mostly a bedroom community, a place where people sleep but commute elsewhere for work and shopping. The city is working to bring more businesses to Princeton, so residents don't have to drive as far for jobs and shopping. They've passed a $109 million bond program to improve parks and public facilities. Princeton's city manager says they see their town as a blank slate. Since Princeton is still relatively small, leaders can plan how they want it to grow. We have the ability to dictate what future generations are going to enjoy in Princeton and frame that identity today, he says. By 2028, Princeton could easily have 50,000 or 60,000 residents. The question is whether it can build roads, schools, and services fast enough to handle all the new people. So far, they're managing the challenges pretty well. Princeton's success story gives hope to other small towns near growing cities. If you have affordable land, good schools, and smart leadership, rapid growth is possible even in today's challenging times. America has always been a country where people vote with their feet. They move toward opportunity and away from decline. The towns that understand this and work to create the conditions people want will thrive. The ones that don't risk becoming ghosts of what they once were. The choice is up to each community. Will they write a story of growth and success like Celina and Princeton? Or will they become cautionary tales like so many of the places we've visited today? Time will tell, but the clock is ticking.